Yeah, that's for certain. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what Stephen Maguire does today playing in this session, because he was very aggressive with his shot selection yesterday. Nearly everything that was there to have a go at was one or two of them I thought just a little dump safety shot would have been better, but he's still taking them on. So will he do the same thing while he's in front? Always been a top quality match player in my eyes, and somebody who strikes the ball beautifully well. Probably hasn't won as much as he should have with the capabilities he's got, but that just shows the standard of the game. He's only managed to win 5 ranked events, which is not great return for him. He's better than that.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point, John, because when he won the UK Championship, Stephen Maguire, in 2004, Ronnie was on record as saying he thought that Stephen Maguire could dominate the game of snooker for years to come. He's won his fair share, but as you said, Ronnie, could have won a lot more with the talent that he has.
Yeah, you look at his game then, it's when he scores. He's an excellent safety player, good match player. Competes, all the things are there.
Fierce competitor. I mean, on the snooker table, he looks really angry out there. And he's such a nice lad away from the table, but it means so much to him.
So there's that shot we call the dump shot, that you just dump the cue ball on the top of the table and there's no way back to balk. And as I say, I thought he should have played a couple of those yesterday in the match when he didn't really have alternatives to get back. He took one in particular, long red, that was just careering into everything if he missed it. So I like that shot a bit better.
Yeah, just to reiterate, the dump shot was introduced by Cliff Thorburn, who last week here in the Crucible won the World Seniors Masters. 8 of us played, and the grinder at 70 years of age is now the World Seniors Masters. And he'll be watching this back in Canada. Maybe not the morning session, but he does like to follow the snooker.
I wonder what time he got to bed, Dennis. Just needs to miss the yellow. Made a bit of a difference, that. Cannon. I'm just wondering, there's a red at the top. The red that's closest to the cue ball is possible. Is he playing the safety? Yeah, he's playing the thin clip. The red that's up and above to the right was in a possible position. I thought he might have taken that and stunned over for maybe for the black, but didn't fancy it. That black being where it is tricky for the safety play here. It's right in the path. So Stephen Maguire has to be careful. He's got to make sure this is thin enough to not cannon that black.
exactly the same problem for Ronnie, as John was mentioning, that black is in an awkward spot for the safety return. I mean, your target now with the safety is to try and sort of get a cannon onto the yellow, so to speak. You know you'd have it safe. Well, that's pretty good if it misses the brown. Well, even with a little flick, it's still good.
That was an excellent shot. Yes, the flick was a help. But Ronnie played the cue ball. You could see he put a bit of run inside on that. He was trying to widen the angle to get the cue ball over that side of the table, because now he's blocked off one side. Made it much more difficult for Stephen Maguire here. If he just played that cue ball straight up and down, he would have had a shot out. Where this is, he hasn't. No value in taking that one on.
That was the best he could do there. There's no way he could get the white over near to the yellow or behind the green and close to the cushion. The angle wasn't there for Ronnie on that occasion. So cat and mouse, who's going to make the first error here in this tactical exchange?
And if you can get the cue ball up a direct line behind the green, it'll be ideal. Although saying that, the red he's knocked out is now going to be available. That's where he's tried to get the cue ball. See, that would have been perfect, but the one on the left-hand side has popped out. And it's a godsend for Ronnie, because if you take that red out the equation, he'd have been in a lot of trouble.
This is totally the opposite to the opening frame, which didn't last very long. Now we've got a nice bout of safety play, which is just as exciting to watch.
I also think, Dennis, for Stephen Maguire, it's not a bad idea, is it? We've seen Ronnie start very quickly in that opening frame. Just having a real good hard match play frame when someone's trying to catch your lead isn't a bad thing. That's a very good shot. Cut off the left-hand side now. Pink's in the way of the reds. He's looking at the two reds that are virtually on top of the pink spot, but he's going to have to hit that one very thick to get through a gap there. I mean, he has actually got a pot on if he wanted to take one on. The red on the right-hand side goes, but is there any value in that? So if he thinks he can get through this gap, he'll play the safety. So Stephen Maguire's excellent safety shot has forced the error. Can he score off it?
One.
And just a little run through on the black, drop that in and the red to the right hand side of the pink. Looks like it's available.
Eight.
Certainly scored well enough in the opening session. Stephen breaks of 101, 39, 95 and 84. So that department was working well.
Nine.
But already in this break, he's not making it too easy on himself. He was slightly wrong on the red. Now he's wrong on the colour. Not too encouraging the start of this break.
Yeah, he's going to have to leave himself a medium range pot if he takes the blue, that's for sure. I don't think he's got enough angle to power it round the table. He's got plenty of cue power. He thought about it there, but it looks like he wants to take the green to get closer to the reds.
Funny thing is, Dennis, I think the bad shot was the black. He just didn't really have a look at what the angle of the red was. Now, is the cue ball put up? Yes, and he's recovered well. That was an excellent shot.
12. $13.
I don't know about you, John, but when I used to be playing, if you had a 3-frame advantage at the Crucible here in the World Championship, you used to, at the back of your mind, think, if I can just share the frames, I get over the line.
Yeah, nothing wrong with nursing a lead, Dennis, if you can do it. But unfortunately, sometimes, as you say, you play Ronnie, it can be quick bursts and 2 or 3 go in no time. This is the important contribution here for me. If Stephen can win the frame here, which isn't easy, I know, under extreme pressure, we can win this one. That will certainly settle him down. Also show Ronnie that you're still here and you're not bothered about what's going on.
Yeah, when you think Ronnie from 4-0 down made breaks of 54, 118 and 110 to get one behind. It was all looking good. And then
Thank you.
Stephen Maguire, he's not frightened of anybody in the game, is he?
No. And funny enough, that was a lovely little shot he just played there. He knew he was cueing close to the pink there with his cue and the follow through. And Bahas was watching it, but he just knew if he dropped it in, it was perfect for the black. And now, once this red goes, the black is open to both pockets. So be very careful with the follow through there, because obviously the cue gets a little thicker with the taper. So you can quite easily touch the pink there.
28.
It's got to be a little bit careful. Those 3 reds that are above the black are perfectly placed for the other pocket, the one the black's going to go in. So his next positional shot has to be right here. If he's popped on the one in the middle pocket, he'll be delighted.
35.
And it looks like he has, because that was a positional shot that could have gone wrong. It's a funny break this at the moment. It's not going right for Stephen Maguire. There's problems all the time with this break. He pots the black here, the 2 reds on the top cushioner and his angle for following through. He can't get to the other side. The red's only really potable from one side of the table, and he keeps coming awkward. He's just looking now if he can drop on that red and play the cut in the corner. That's what he's had to leave himself. They're just a little bit awkward. Okay, you'd expect him to knock this in, but he hasn't been able to go about this break in the way he would have liked.
Just an untimely cough there. He had to get up off the shot. It's so compact here at the
44.
Crucible, and even on the other side of the arena, you can hear everything that's going on around you. There's the magnificent crucible, which totally changes when you get to the semi-final and one table. And that's when it really comes into its own.
49.
Well, meanwhile, still grasping for position, Stephen Maguire just had to come a little higher for that red that's above the black. He's now got to play another little cannon. If he can come through the gap there, it'd be nice. Just pop this red and stun up through the gap of the two reds. It'll be on pink or blue. But you missed the red, Stephen, at your own peril.
Stephen Maguire.
What a miss that is.
49.
He did what we see happen so many times. He took his eye off the pot. He was concentrating on that cannon on the red, and that was the result. Now then, what can Ronnie make of this?
Well, I know one thing, Dennis. When he pots this red, if he can get on the black, the first thing he should be doing is playing the cannon into the two reds that are below the black. He's got a red over the corner as his insurance for the next ball. If he can just get on the black here, the first thing he'll be doing is he'll be getting those reds out. Well, he could pop the pink here and play the other red onto it. Interesting. I would have thought he'd have been getting those two reds out off a cannon and leaving that red over the corner.
7. Eight.
Looks like he'll play it now, will he?
Yeah, I think he's just trying to wait till he gets enough points and right back in the match. But sooner or later,
16.
he's going to need those two reds that John mentioned. But yeah, get yourself right back in the frame and then concentrate on those. That's his mindset.
16.
Huge frame, this.
22.
Has to be said, they're all important, but Stephen Maguire was in the driving seat there.
23.
Looked like he was going to get to 7 frames. He still might do.
First one, he's got those two reds you mentioned earlier. He's also got the yellow, which is not great. Now this is far from conclusive.
$29. 30.
And now he might bring the two reds into play. If he can just cannon in between them, that'll be perfect. He didn't quite get the cannon as he intended, but at least he's opened them, and if he drops this one in the middle, he's just playing to get the white into the middle of the two reds there.
I mean, the point I was trying to make before, not trying to harbour on about, if he'd have done that earlier, the red over the corner pocket was there anyway. It didn't matter how the cannon came about, but I'm not going to tell him. He's made 944 centuries, but I think he did miss a trick there.
Yeah, good recovery. That looked easy on your screen there, but into the middle pockets, they're quite sharp, so they are. But still quite a bit of work to do.
43.
Especially with the yellow almost tight on the ball cushion.
44.
If he does win the frame here, well, it'll be a magnificent contribution, but it'll be a major blow to Stephen Maguire. He will be kicking himself. He missed that red. He just got conscious of playing through the gap of the reds and making sure he got that
51.
right. Forgot the essential bit was pop the ball. All done it. Just changed his mind there, Ronnie, on the shot. He was going to play a screw back there and then went to the top of the cue ball. So, can he get a good angle on this yellow? Doesn't want to be straight.
Wow, this looks to be absolutely perfect.
59.
But for some reason, the balls along the ball cushion are more difficult than the ones along the black cushion. So he's having the cue ball cleaned. He knows the importance of this next shot. Could be a frame winner.
Yeah, he's going to be playing this nice and smoothly. He's just had a look. He's going to be leaving the green in the middle pocket. So what a clearance this could be. Well, this is just top quality snooker for Mo Sullivan. Absolutely on a sixpence. Had one tricky red in the middle, and he played the cannon on the two reds, which he negotiated. But the positional shot from black to yellow, exceptional,
73.
and the yellow itself, a superb pot. And this has just been a wonderful contribution. And if Stephen Maguire wasn't a little bit nervous before today's session, he certainly is now. Fantastic from Mo Sullivan. Vintage. Maguire was in early, should have won the frame. Mr. Simple Red in the corner trying to play position, and O'Sullivan clears up with a break of 86. It's getting interesting. 6-5.